The kids ask at the Q&A and like what sort of response do we get, like emotional response do we get from them, and then
That's what parents and families.
and
Hey everyone, welcome to the Queerie.
So today we have a friend of the pod, Hayden. Thank you so much for being here.
So happy to be here.
So excited. So we're taking a bit of a different route today. Is Hayden's part of sort of more of the behind the scenes of the queer community?
Yes. So let's start with the usual question. What are your pronouns and what names do you go by and when?
Just he, him, and just Hayden.
All the time.
All the time.
All the
24/7.
Love. When did you first realise that you were a part of the LGBTQIA plus community?
When I was like, probably birth. Like I've always been, I've always been a very queer child.
Right, sure.
And then it wasn't till like after COVID, when I left my like corporate mining job, is when I actually like started really getting involved in the queer community.
Yeah.
And I just haven't looked back.
I love that. That's so exciting.
Wow. So you, all through high school and everything, you were like very much like a part of the community?
Yeah, like it was like when you're as gay as me, it's hard to hide it.
Yeah.
You know what
sure.
I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, so I was just very lucky that, you know, I had a very positive experience
Yep.
growing up.
Yeah.
So it was just
Like your family was very supportive as well. And
as much as I could be.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, like, you know, everyone has a different story, but like I just, and that's why I'm so passionate about what I do now. It's just it's like I want to give everyone a great childhood as a queer kid and then set up them to be great queer adults.
Yeah. Yeah.
So going on from that, so queer and here, how did that sort of begin?
Well, I was like 2 years into doing like drag for adults and like I was just like I would love to see more kids involved in something so positive.
Yeah.
So I reached out to a bunch of people in the education space.
Yeah, nice.
And I had met someone really supportive named Keisha, and she just been pushing this with all the principals and with the Board of Education. And it's been like it took about a year and a half to cut through all the red tape
Yeah.
to like have an actual official school excursion.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Like, because it's an official school event.
Yeah.
So basically the kids go to school and then once they're at school, they hop on a bus or hop on a train with their teachers and with the teachers' assistants and the principals, and then they travel to the valley and then it's an actual school day.
Wow.
So it's an actual
such a
like
cool idea.
school event.
Yeah.
And for that to be like when I was at school, our excursions were like to like the museum and to like the art gallery and like that can be camp, but
Yeah,
Not as
right.
camp.
I didn't realise that's like it
But
was
there's
like an
official
actual school thing.
so yeah, so basically we supply the schools with ticket link and then the parents have to sign a bunch of like legal waivers, and then their parents decide if they want to be photographed or not, the children.
Sure.
And it's disappointing when they choose to no to that, because then they don't get involved as much because they have to sit in the back because their faces might be captured.
Sure.
They can't be involved in the activities because their faces might get captured.
Yeah.
So like when the kids have the approval of the parents, it's the best.
Yeah,
And
such a
then they pay the school, then the school pay us, and then we put on an official school excursion. That's why it took so long.
Yeah,
because,
of
like,
course.
so much red tape.
Yeah. That's amazing. Like I wish that I had something like that in school.
so
Because like
cool.
I didn't fully like embrace my queerness until I was old enough to go to queer spaces, right? So like having something like that as a child might have helped me sort of step into that a little bit more from younger. That's super interesting.
Yeah, that is really cool. How many events have there been so far?
So we've had 2 because we do it at the end of each term.
Oh, cool.
So end of each, so the last week of school. So it's for kids aged 12 to 17. So they're at that mature age where they can choose to go or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so basically it's a choose. So the kids say if they want to go or not. No kids are forced to go.
Yeah.
And the first one we had about 80 kids. The second one we had about 110 kids.
Wow.
So good.
And we had about 2 Gold Coast schools and the rest like local schools in Brisbane.
Wow.
And it's like the whole day is positive about queer culture. So it's also educational because it is
definitely.
it's not just drag shows and like glitter and confetti.
Yeah.
It's like Q&A to the queens about anything they want.
Sure.
And it's trivia
Yeah.
and it's like
Exciting.
educational.
Yeah,
'cause
information.
it's-
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Is it lots of like, is it different schools come together at once, or is it like one school at a time?
No, it's all the kids at once. So we
Yeah,
mingle. So
right.
all the activities we like when the kids walk in, they get a different color wristband.
Right,
So
okay.
instead of them mingling with their own kids from their school,
They
they have to mingle with the colored wristbands.
Sure.
So then encourage the kids to
like, meet new
talk
people.
connections
Wow.
and to like network, because obviously like how else we realize you're like not alone.
Yeah.
So they meet other queer kids in other schools, and it's in a safe environment.
Yeah.
And it's just such a positive. And we partnered with Fly Brisbane, which is an organisation that helps parents deal with their kids coming out.
Sure.
And they're there to give any information. And the most important part's a Q&A, because the kids can ask whatever they want.
Yeah.
And the questions can be as lighthearted or as serious. And it's a credit to the Queens for opening up so much.
Yeah.
And it's just such a great day. It's
Yeah.
my favourite event.
It's a really, really cool idea that you've done.
Yeah.
Was it just, you just thought of it one day that you wanted to do this, or?
So it's like it was definitely a collaboration with my business partners, and they were all for me having control of seeing the vision, and they're so supportive, and they really let me like take the reins and make it what I saw in my head.
Yeah.
And that's so good of them to give that so much trust in
Yeah.
an event that has never been done before in Australia, and to be an actual. There's been lots of kids drag events, but not an actual school excursion.
Yeah.
Because the kids are in full uniform.
Oh wow.
Like they go to school. It's a school day,
Yeah.
so they go to school, then they get bused or trained to the valley, and it's an actual like official school event.
Yeah.
That's so cool. It's better than just like, all my school excursions were either the art gallery or like going to like sport days on Friday. So, you have to have different things. It's not just going on a bus to go to do sport or
Yeah.
go to see art. Like it's such a different experience that I feel like you need to have as an opportunity for people to do,
Yeah.
especially kids.
Yeah. So why do you think you have such a passion for helping children or youth?
Because I just love drag.
Yeah.
And I think as many people see drag as possible, the better.
The better. Yeah.
Like, and it's just I would have loved that when I was a kid, and like to see so many kids like who might not be as strong as I was as a kid, who like, because it's doing this, you hear the horror stories, and so many kids don't have the strength to like
Shake it off and
shake
keep
it
going.
off,
Yeah.
and like so to create a safe space, because so many places in Brisbane have safe places, but you have to be over 18.
Yeah.
There's no safe space for kids that is like a actual event for kids.
Yeah.
And we go all out. We go
Yeah.
with the fire, the smoke, the confetti.
Yeah.
Like
Nice.
we put on a show for those kids,
Yeah.
because they deserve that.
Yeah.
Like, and it's the first time they've been in like that an environment
Yeah,
like that.
to like explore your own whoever you are. Like obviously as a kid you do have the opportunity to sort of figure out who you are, but if you're never put into a space where you're explicitly shown things that you actually have no idea exist otherwise, you're not going to know
No.
that that's a thing that exists, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And you don't have any other opportunity to do it.
Yeah,
So it's,
until you turn 18 and by then, like I guess you do know who you are, or you're still on the journey to
but I
figure out
think
who
you
you
also have some sort of thing in the back of your head, like that you don't really know if
Yeah.
you're allowed
Yep.
to enjoy it because you haven't been given the chance to
are. Yeah,
beforehand.
totally, for sure.
So it's a very special thing to give to kids. Have you received a lot of like backlash?
Oh, lots. Like, unfortunately, my Instagram has been reported 7 times
Wow.
for adult content.
Oh, come off it.
And I tried it because we encourage the kids to follow it. So as soon
Yeah.
as we get negative comments, I try to delete them straight away.
Yeah.
But the DMs are vicious.
Really?
Like the DMs.
Well, when
are
you're
very
doing something for the
vicious.
first time in Australia, I guess you expect to get backlash, but it's so disappointing.
Yeah.
But
It is
that-
disappointing. Like you think that we've come so far and
Yeah.
then things like that happen and you're like, oh.
Well, you
okay.
even see it in America. There was that whole, like, what were your thoughts on
Oh, yeah.
that? The
And
banning.
it's stuff like that is exactly what makes me go, we're so
doing it
lucky.
more.
Well, like
Yeah.
that's why we're so lucky we can actually that we put the hard work in, so we can actually do my event and like push it harder. And like what happened earlier this year with the
banning of, it was like they were trying to ban kids from
Yes.
coming to like children events.
yeah, it was just
drag
like
events or queer events or
I was like, no.
yeah.
And I just
Not happening.
And it's just I want it a positive space,
Yeah.
positive energy, and like obviously you always can get hate. No matter what you do, you always can get hate.
Especially when it is a sensitive topic for people still, sadly, for some reason. So
and they go after things like they're like, is this taxpayers' money paying for this? Are the kids forced to go? And I don't usually I don't respond to those kind of things.
Yeah. Engage in it,
But like all the information's on there.
Yeah, like you can read it. You don't just have to spread
it's
hate.
positive, and it's just
Yeah, I think a lot of people correlate queer things. They immediately think of they think that queer things have like a sexual connotation to it. So they go, oh my God, queer,
Don't do this to our
sex, children.
Yeah.
And that that's their thought
Automatic
path,
response, yeah.
which is not the case at all. Like it's a
'Cause, like-
celebration of identity and who you are. It has nothing to do with anything sexual at all.
and everything's approved. Like
Yeah.
the costumes, the outfits. Like I get the queens to send me what they're gonna wear, or they're getting something made for it, what it's gonna look like,
Yep.
and that'll get approved. The songs get approved.
Yeah, okay.
The venues get approved. Like everything gets approved through all the right channels.
Yep.
So like the queens are very strict on like what they can and can't say in regards to like there's no swearing, there's the Q&A part. I tell the queens to be as honest as like possible and share what they want to share, and that can get like very raw and very honest.
But I think that's important.
It's very
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
But for like
Can't fake it.
the show's vibe, it's all like PG.
Yeah.
Or G actually, not PG.
Yeah.
Very, very G. And I'm just lucky that we have that trust in the community to
To put something
put
on.
something on like that.
Yeah.
And it's just positive.
I hope it keeps growing.
Yeah, I hope so too. I really wish that I could have had something like that growing up, like a space to meet other people that were like me. Yeah. So you mentioned earlier about a Q&A with the kids. So at your event, there's a question and answer section, I guess, with the queens. What sort of questions are the kids asking, and like what kind of emotional response are you getting from the kids?
Well, that's the highlight. So at the start of the day, after we do like the acknowledgement of country and stuff like that, the kids are told that this massive, bright, glittery gold bowl beside the stage. Kids through the entire day can write questions.
Oh, so it's anonymous.
Anonymous, 100%
That's
anonymous.
great. That's great.
Like it's the kids. It needs to be a safe space.
Yeah.
So 100% anonymous. They can put their names if they wish, but I've told the queens not to read out names.
Yeah.
They write the questions down, throw them in there, and then while the last show's going on, the queens vet all the questions. Obviously, only say ones that are like appropriate, etc.
Yeah.
And then I have a quick look at them as well, and then the queens read them out, and it's very raw. Like there's light-hearted ones about like, why do you do drag, and like how much does drag cost, and how do I become a drag queen? There's those fun light-hearted ones, and there's like serious ones like how do I come out to my parents, and like I'm nervous about this, and where do I go to like find out information about like STDs, and I like a person, what do I do? And it's just questions that they're too afraid to ask at home.
Yeah.
They're too afraid to ask at school. They're too afraid to ask. It's a place where, and again, I give credit to the queens for reading those questions out. I'm a parent to answer them.
Yeah.
And the queens let it all out.
Yeah.
And it's just such nice to see the vulnerability and the honesty.
Yeah.
And that's what these kids need to hear.
Yeah.
That it's okay to be gay.
Yeah.
And it's okay to be who they identify as. And it's okay to be, still learning.
Yeah.
And still
Yeah.
finding themselves.
Yeah.
And to be encouraged. And and if you come into like one of my 18 plus shows or one of my kids shows, as long as the kids or people leave happy, that's the main thing.
Yeah.
And that's why we always end with Born This Way. It's just a huge dance party at the end of the day. And it's like we do the Q&A last to give as much time people ask questions.
Yeah.
And then we end it with Born This Way.
Yeah.
And it's just a great way to like send the kids off back to school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In such a positive vibe.
Yeah.
And probably
love
feeling
that.
so much more just that they can be themselves.
Yeah.
What's the kind of feedback you've had from like parents and families, and like have you received much from kids going home after and saying this was so amazing? And
So basically all the kids at the end of it get a survey, an online survey. So they give us their feedback, what they liked throughout the day,
that's good.
if they liked the food, if they liked the venue, if they liked the queens, that was their favourite part. And Kesha, who's my main person in the education system, she's done such a good job in creating this portal for the kids to answer all the feedback, and the teachers as well, about what we can do better and what the kids enjoyed, and the feedback. And then obviously our logo and our Instagram is everywhere. So
Yeah.
I've had parents reach out and thank us for, you know, doing it, and
Yeah,
it's
that's
such
awesome.
a positive thing. But I've also had parents reach out who like didn't know. One parent said yes and didn't consent to the kid being photographed, but the other parent found out a message about this, and so it's sad that it's not always positive. But from the parents and guardian point of view, it's been about 80% positive, which
That's
is great.
good.
That's really
as long
good.
as it outweighs, and hopefully the negative. Eventually, people become more open-minded.
Yeah. Yeah.
You would
But
hope.
at the end of the day, as long as those kids have that 4 hours
space.
of like
Yeah.
happiness
That's what
and
matters.
safe, that's all that matters. Like
You
as
can
long
deal
as,
with the you know, the backlash if it's making the kids.
exactly. Like
Happy.
I can,
Changing
as
their
long as they're
lives, really.
happy, and like you always gonna get backlash.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
For anything
know,
you do, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we were worried about getting backlash for this. Yeah. So like, yeah,
true,
we
yeah.
totally get it.
I
Yeah.
love a hater. Like the fact that they're going out of their way to think about like
Yeah,
me
it's
for
fun.
that long and
Yeah.
put like the effort into like a nasty comment. I'm like, thank you for thinking about me.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for
Like-
making your way, typing my
Yeah.
Instagram into your search bar.
Thank you for
clicking
going like
on the
taking
profile,
time out of your day.
Clicking
My
on the
engagement
DMs,
rate
Yeah.
up.
typing it all out and hitting send. Thank you
Like
so
I
much.
love how you've gone out of your way to,
Yeah.
like, to message me like, oh, that's
Thank
sweet
you so
of
much.
you.
Thank you for thinking of me.
And feel free to follow me too. Like, like
While you're there, you may
like,
as well.
So then you can get more like
More things to hate on.
Inspiration.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Please do it.
Yeah. So where do you find the performers for these events? And do you find performers that are usually like willing to donate their time or?
So I'm a big believer in, for so long, the entertainment industry as a general are not being paid what they should.
Yeah.
So I'm all for queens being paid for their time and value.
Yeah.
So all the queens who do any of my shows are all paid.
Yeah.
So like, and it's also day drag. So like day drag is a mission because
Yeah.
it's usually a lot hotter and you
Yeah.
have to wake up hours and hours before.
Yeah.
So like it's a mission. So like I'm happy that we have the opportunity that the queens are paid for their time
Yeah.
for coming to this event and for doing an amazing show.
Yeah.
And basically the queens, I love to get queens who always have a different story. Like, for example, the first one, we had an Enigma pop star who is a trans man who is fabulous, whose story was so great the kids could see someone in themselves on stage. And then we had Lulu and Elderflower,
Oh, nice. Lovely.
who've also been on
Friends
here.
of the pod.
Yeah. Friends of the pod.
Who are like a functioning gay couple.
Yeah.
So they could see that, you know, you can have not just drag
Relationship,
queens, but have
yeah.
actual relationship as a gay person.
Yeah.
And then the next one, we had Chocolate Box,
Lovely.
who is obviously a First Nations icon.
Yeah.
So the kids can see themselves in her as well.
Yeah.
And we had Dolly Kicks, who's AFAB.
Yeah,
So
amazing.
a female who does drag,
Yeah.
which is
Amazing.
Is
Yeah.
amazing. And
Yeah.
it's like, and there's no difference.
No.
No,
Yeah.
Like,
we've talked
if-
about that a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you put the wig on, you put the makeup on.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to tuck to be a drag queen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you're
That's
as
a
long
good
as
motto.
you
I like that.
like you don't have to tuck to be a drag queen, and
Yeah.
like you, as long as you put on a show.
Yeah.
Like I don't care. Like what your background is, where you come from,
Yeah.
what gender you are, how you identify.
Yeah.
If you get on there and you do a 3-minute show and you leave it all on the stage,
Yeah.
That's what
great.
matters.
That's what matters. I don't care how you identify in your day life.
Yeah.
You do you, boo.
Yeah.
But as long as you put on a show, that's all I asked for.
Yeah.
And we also had Freya Romani,
Oh,
also
yes.
friend of the
Oh,
pod.
yes.
Friend of the pod.
And obviously there being young, fabulous, was again a point of view because she's only I think 4 or 5 years older than the kids.
Yeah.
So like see like, you know, someone so
can-
quickly
yes.
can be on stage and be amazing.
Yeah.
So and I'm lucky enough that I do a lot of drag events. So I have
A lot of
the
contacts.
contacts
Yeah.
to choose different queens
Yeah.
and reach out to the queens and it's the positive response. And
Yeah.
What's
Good.
your kind of future goals for Queer in here?
well,
What
I
do you
want
want it to become?
I wanted to like. I have like a dream of it being like Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, and going to the country.
yes, in a little bus.
Yeah, like I'm always looking for like the options of touring it once it's like
Built up.
built up,
Yeah.
and once I'm hitting those 300-400 kids an event, then I can tour it around to like town halls.
Yeah.
I can imagine
nice.
those
And-
regional towns. It would be maybe even more important
Special,
for those
yeah.
kids because
That
you know
don't
Brisbane's obviously a
experience it.
big city and there's maybe a bit more like awareness and
representation.
enlightenment about queer community. But
Yeah, in
I
a
mean, I'm from
regional town.
Townsville, and there's not much there, like I would say, and then you go even more regional, and you know those kids probably need something like that.
But
so.
it needs to be like the same level of quality
Yeah.
as
Oh,
it is
yeah,
in Brisbane. Like I want it to be
absolutely.
the same lights, the same fire, the same smoke, the same
Yeah.
graffiti. Like it needs to be
As
the
exciting.
same sign as like the city kids will get.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it needs to be ready. It needs to be. It's already a proven concept.
Yeah.
But it needs to be at that level where
Yeah.
okay, I can tour it and it's can get those
Get
because
a
quality.
it's hard enough getting city principals on board.
Yeah.
Country principals because it needs to be in a school event. It
Yeah.
needs to be. I'm not gonna do I've been reached out to do it like a school holiday event. I'm
Yeah.
like, no, it needs to be in a school. I fought hard to become a school excursion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be. There's nothing wrong with doing like an under 18 plus event. Like they're great. Like
Yeah.
anything that's queer centric is great.
Yeah.
But I fought so hard for it to be a school
Educational
excursion,
based,
an
yeah.
educational approved,
Yeah.
Yeah.
government approved event for school age
Yeah.
children, and I don't want to taint that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I respect that. That's really cool. And so, lastly, this is what we ask all of our guests. What makes you most proud to be queer?
Just everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm changing the world.
Yeah.
Like I love seeing my friends kill on stage.
Mm-hmm.
I love giving a stage to people to perform on.
Yeah.
I love to dress the way I want to dress. Like I love that there's no rules as a queer person. We're not stuck in that. In my opinion, the male toxicity
Yeah.
of you can't wear pink, you can't do
Yeah.
this. Like I wear what I want. I do what I want. I say what I want. I'm very proud to be queer. But not everyone is as strong as I am in regards to that. So
Yeah.
that's why I love doing these kind of events so kids can build their confidence. So they can dress the way they want to dress, talk the way they want to talk,
Yeah.
go where they want to go. And
That's so
Yeah.
special.
It is.
You know.
Yeah.
Give that.
Yeah. To be able to fight so hard for something, to give kids something that you didn't have growing up, like that's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We love to see it.
We love to see it.
Love to see it. Do you have any events that you'd like to plug?
well, we have the next Queerie in here is in December
Gorgeous.
for the last week of the school holidays. It's the 3rd of December. We'll have a brand new venue because
Oh, cool.
like I've sold unfortunately the first two were capped at
Sure.
numbers.
Yeah.
So this one is a larger venue, so I'm very excited.
That is exciting.
And we're introducing more queens. We're doing like an arts and crafts section as well to keep the
wow.
kids keep entertained.
Yeah.
We're getting a lot more charities involved and a lot more we're getting headspace in, and we're getting a lot of
Nice.
other mental health stuff as well.
That's
so
great.
kids can go and they'll be in a different sections. So kids can go talk to people. And it's more like a mini
like a festival almost.
festival, festival, and having more than just the 3 queens. Like I booked 5 queens for this one.
Yeah. Nice.
And it's great.
Yeah.
I'm very excited for it. So, and I want to do it more.
Yeah.
But it needs to be done right.
Yes.
Absolutely,
Yeah, for
yeah.
sure. Do you have any 18 plus things happening as well that you want to plug?
So I have an event called Alt, which is a monthly event.
Lovely.
Then next one's at Baloots, and we also do it at the Wickham. And that's a fabulous event celebrating all things alternative, drag, burlesque, sideshow.
Cool. Love.
And we also have an exciting new show coming out called Violet Circus, which is like a hardcore look at burlesque and sideshow and elements of
Love.
drag.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, we
So
should go.
I'm very excited about that. And yeah.
Gorgeous.
Woo.
Amazing.
Yay! Thank you so much for coming
Thank
on.
you. It's been really interesting. I've actually learned a lot. I did not realize this was an educational school-based event. So it just makes it so much more impressive that you've been able to fight for a government supported event. It's really incredible.
It is actually really incredible.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yes. Good for you.
Thank you for
Thank
doing
you.
that.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yes,
Let's do a little cheers.
Right.
Okay.